History was made yesterday. This is a moment we haven't seen in over 50 years. Humanity has returned to the moon, and what happened is even more impressive than many expected. Because the Artemis II crew didn't just reach the moon, they performed a historic flyby, broke records, and saw things that no one has seen since Apollo.
We're going to take a look at the incredible footage and examine the images captured by the crew in detail, so let's get started right away.
The NASA Artemis II mission is the first crewed lunar mission since Apollo 17 in 1972, and thus the first in over 50 years. 4 astronauts are aboard the Orion capsule. NASA astronauts Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Koch, as well as Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen. No touchdown on the lunar surface this time. That's reserved for Artemis IV.
Artemis descent is much more of a massive practical test.
Navigation and life support systems, the crew's response under real-world conditions in deep space. All of this is to be tested on humans for the first time here before anyone actually sets foot on the moon again.
After launch, Orion was first placed into Earth orbit.
Then came the so-called trans-lunar injection maneuver, a 6-minute engine burn that finally catapulted the spacecraft out of Earth's gravitational influence. From that moment on, there was only one direction: the moon. By comparison, the International Space Station, ISS, orbits at an altitude of only about 400 kilometers.
Orion has left this boundary far, far behind.
In the days that followed, the crew moved further and further away from us. One of the highlights was the amazing footage of our Earth. One detail caused confusion for many. In the images of Earth, you can see city lights, even though at first glance it looks like daytime. In fact, however, the photo shows the night side of Earth. At the very bottom, we see the so-called Terminator line, which separates day and night. Due to the camera's high dynamic range and exposure, even faint light sources on the night side become visible, while the bright side is not completely overexposed. That's why the image looks unnatural at first, but it accurately reflects the physical conditions. An image taken shortly before with a lower ISO value and a narrower aperture shows Earth like this, significantly darker, but still gently illuminated by reflected moonlight.
Yes, and on April 6th, several milestones happened all at once, because that was the day of the lunar flyby.
The flyby lasted a total of about 7 hours. 7 hours in which more happened than in many an entire space mission. I live streamed it yesterday. Let me know in the comments who among you was there. It was truly a historic and moving moment. It began with the crew observing exciting geological formations on the far side of the moon as they approached. Here, the astronauts discovered and described geological details, striking color differences, variations in brightness, and distinctive crater rims. That might sound dry at first, but it's not at all, because the color and texture of the lunar surface tell us what it's made of and how old certain rock formations are. Lunar geologist Dr. Sarah Noble from the Goddard Space Flight Center put it this way: "The color information that the human eye can provide is irreplaceable to us. Nuances that no instrument can capture with such precision."
Then came the moment that all the ground staff had been waiting for.
Orion disappeared as seen from Earth behind the moon. Radio silence. For 40 minutes, no signal, no data stream, no contact. NASA's Deep Space Network, the network of giant radio telescopes that humanity uses to guide its probes throughout the solar system, couldn't receive anything. The moon was in the way. Absolutely crazy when you think about it.
4 people in a capsule, farther from Earth than any human has ever been before, completely on their own.
At 1 a.m. Central European Time, Orion reached its closest point to the moon, 6,500 kilometers above the surface. 2 minutes later came the next record. At a distance of 406,800 kilometers from Earth, Wiseman, Glover, Koch, and Hansen have now officially set a new record, breaking the Apollo 13 crew's record and becoming the people who have ever been farthest from our planet. Insane.
While Orion was flying over the far side of the moon, the side that is permanently hidden from Earth, the crew made scientific observations that will keep us busy for years to come.
Huge impact basins, ancient solidified lava fields, mountain ranges, and fissures that stretch across the surface like scars. The Oriental Basin, for example, nearly 950 kilometers wide and 3.8 billion years old, was at the top of the observation list. Such structures tell the story of the solar system's formation. Not far from there, the Heart Spring Basin, also on the far side, nearly 400 kilometers in diameter, older than the Oriental and significantly more eroded by countless late impacts. The direct comparison of both structures through the astronauts' eyes provides data that no satellite could ever have captured. The official images taken by the astronauts have not yet been released at the time of this video's production. We'll be watching them together live tonight on the Astro-Tim channel.
Starting at 8 p.m., I'll be streaming for you. If you don't want to miss it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel now. That way you'll get a notification and you'll be helping out. Every subscription helps more than you can imagine. Thank you, everyone. Yes, when Orion finally reappeared on the other side of the moon, the crew experienced something that is emotionally hard to put into words.
The Earthrise. The Earth slowly emerged from behind the moon's edge, a brownish-white speck in the blackness of space. Shortly before radio silence, Glover had sent a message down via the onboard radio. We'll still feel your love from Earth even when we're on the other side. And something else special happened. The crew provisionally proposed 2 names for previously unnamed lunar craters. They wanted to name one Integrity after their Orion capsule as a symbol of the historic mission. The other, near the boundary between the moon's near and far sides, they proposed naming Carol in honor of Reed Wiseman's late wife, Carol Taylor Wiseman. A quiet, touching gesture that shows what this mission is also about: love and humanity. Shortly after re-establishing radio contact, something began that the crew themselves could hardly wait for. An almost hour-long lunar solar eclipse, not like the ones we know from Earth where life returns to normal a few minutes later, but an eclipse in which the moon moves in front of the sun, allowing the astronauts to observe the solar corona, the sun's outermost atmospheric layer, which is completely overshadowed by normal sunlight. Such a prolonged view of the corona is simply impossible from our planet. During the eclipse, something happened that caught the attention of even experienced lunar scientists.
The crew reported 6 brief flashes of light on the unlit side of the moon. 6 impacts. Meteoroids crashing into the lunar surface at tens of thousands of kilometers per hour. No protective cushion of air, no deceleration, just a direct impact. The resulting flashes are brief but measurable. And researchers use such events to calculate impact frequencies and draw conclusions about potential dangers for future lunar bases.
Because someday people will live there. That is the goal of the Artemis program, and then such data will not be merely academic, but vital for survival. The reaction of the NASA science team to the live observations of these impacts was truly wonderful to witness. The mission has thus demonstrated that the return to the moon is technically feasible, the systems are functioning, and the science package, which was processed as a side project during this flyby, would previously have been considered sufficient for a standalone follow-up mission. Now Orion is on its way back. The moon's gravity has sent the capsule on its way home like a slingshot. In a few days it will re-enter Earth's atmosphere at nearly 40,000 kilometers per hour. Heat, friction, a parachute, and then the splashdown in the Pacific. And then the analysis begins. Scientists will spend months analyzing the data from this mission. What comes next? Artemis II, during which docking with the lunar lander will be tested, and then Artemis IV, a lunar landing. Real astronauts, the real lunar surface, for the first time since 1972. I'm already excited and will, of course, keep you updated.
So go ahead and subscribe to the channel now, and hopefully we'll see each other tonight in the live stream to marvel at the spectacular images together. And speaking of astronomical breakthroughs, alors abonnez-vous dès maintenant à la chaîne et, avec un peu de chance, on se retrouve ce soir en direct pour admirer ensemble ces images spectaculaires. Et à propos de percées astronomiques, Emile,
in the next video, we'll take a look at something else that's currently causing a stir in the scientific community, this time on Mars. Deep inside the red planet, researchers have discovered a gigantic anomaly, something so heavy and so deep that it's accelerating the rotation of the entire planet. Mars is spinning faster than it should, and no one saw this coming. We'll take a look at exactly what's slumbering down there in the video shown in the top right corner. Be sure to check it out, it's very exciting. As always, there's another video on science and space in the bottom right corner. Otherwise, I'd say see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.